Welcome to 20 at 10 with Nat. I'm your host, Natalie, and my special guest tonight is Kate Howard. Kate Howard is a wordsmith and artist here in Austin that I have known, now that I'm thinking about it, probably 6 or 7 years now that I'm actually thinking about it. And she, if you ask anyone in the Austin music scene, and they know Kate Howard. And when I heard her first, I was actually at an open mic at Strange Brew, rest in peace. And I remember, I think I laughed out loud at a song she sang. And anytime I hear her sing and play, she's very witty, and all of her, to me, all of her lyrics are very tongue in cheek and just, they make me smile. So she's been working on her debut album called The Best Medicine, and it's coming out next year. And I know she's really, really excited about it. And I'm really excited for her. I know it's been a long time coming, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and about her story. So please welcome Miss Kate Howard.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Fancy meeting you here.
I know. We were just here like a month ago, right? Talking about
Yeah.
ice cream.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being my guest tonight and hanging out with me for a little bit.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm excited.
I'm also very excited. So, for those watching, Kate sent me a bio, and instead of reading it, I wanted to ask questions because I felt like it gave away some of her story. Hey,
Okay.
Joanna, what's up? Also,
Joanna, hi.
do feel free to drop a comment or a question into the comment box. We're on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube tonight. We can see all of the comments as they come in. So if you notice something with the audio, if one of us is too loud compared to the other, let me know. And also, if you have a question, chime in. If you have a joke, we like to laugh, so go ahead.
I no jokes.
Okay, never mind. Kate doesn't like jokes, which you know is a lie because Kate makes jokes. All
Yes.
right. Hey, Kent, what's up?
Hi,
So, all
Ken.
right. The first thing I wanted to ask you about, one thing you had said in your bio is that you grew up singing in choir, which I also
Yes.
did. Yay,
Oh,
choir
cool.
girls. And something happened when you were 17. You mentioned in the bio that you had a panic or freak out moment that maybe wasn't
Mm-hmm.
clear to the stage, but you did
Yeah,
not get on a stage for 30 years. Is that correct?
that's correct.
So I'm curious what that moment was, what happened, what was going on in here when you were
Mm-hmm.
17, and what changed 30 years later.
Well, let's see. I don't remember whose idea it was to put this band together, but my sister's friends, my sister Maggie and I have a lot of mutual friends, and we put a band together, and we had a very ambitious song. It was Roundabout by Yes. And so I was the lead singer and started singing it, and it's a long and very difficult song. And I just had a full-blown panic attack on stage. And I just remember I kept putting my hand on my head and pushing my hair back, and that was my coping mechanism. And I just kept thinking, oh my God, I'm going to forget the words. Oh my God, everybody's looking at me. Oh my God, and I just but nobody in the audience could tell as far as I know. And I just, after that, for the next 30 years, I was kind of like that Warner Brothers bullfrog, that somebody finds in a construction site in a cigar box. And he would sing whenever the drunk guy who found him was around. And then whenever anybody else showed up, he would just ribbit. And that was me with music, with everybody for the next 30 years. And then one day, 7 years ago, no, I'm sorry, it was more like 9 years ago, I was in a car with my friend Ellie, and this song came on the radio, and she asked if I'd ever heard it, and I said no. And then all of a sudden, I found myself singing harmonies to it out loud in front of another person, and she asked me how I knew the harmonies because I'd never heard the song before, and I told her about being in choir and everything. And that was, and before you know it, she was asking me to sing at her 50th birthday party. And she really had to twist my arm. But so it was just a matter of feeling more comfortable with myself, feeling more comfortable with my friend, trusting her. And then when Deb Stanley moved to town, she introduced me to several musicians, and I actually auditioned at a show with Jimmy Lee, who's a guitarist and harmonica player, and got got gigs being his background vocalist, and did that for a full year before I started writing songs.
That's awesome. How do you know Debbie? Also, Debbie's tuning
Um,
in. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Deb. So glad you're here. Debbie and I know each other from the professional organizing world.
Okay.
Before I started, well, I was kind of transitioning out of technical writing, which I'd done for about 20 years, and I started a professional organizing business called Catherine the Great Organizer. And so I went to a meeting once, and Deb was there speaking. She has quite a reputation, a great reputation among professional organizers. She's written tons of books about training organizers. So that's how I met her.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so, also in your bio, you said that you wrote your first song at age 50, and that
Yes.
within 7 years, you've written 300 tunes.
Yeah, it's actually, I think it's closer to 350 now, but I don't have an accurate count. It's somewhere between 325 and 350.
Speaking of that, hi, Debbie. How do you keep these songs organized? Do you have them, like, do you have a spreadsheet with links? Do you have them all on SoundCloud, private links? Like, how do you know that you have this many songs, and where do you find
Um,
them?
well, I have been in a song game for about 5 years, and so I just kind of did the math with that. So
That's
as
fair.
far as how I organize them, I'm sort of one of these people who I didn't start organizing because I'm organized. I started organizing because I wasn't.
Nice.
And so, pardon, how rude. Um, so I'm what we call organized enough. So I have my songs in various places. I have binders that are organized alphabetically. I have them on iTunes because they were originally voice memos. I
Gotcha.
have them in emails from the song game.
Okay.
So a variety of places.
Which song game have you been in? I'm trying to figure out if we've been
Um,
in the same one or not.
no, we haven't yet. I'm in one that Kevin McKinney started with this
All right.
group called Renfro, and that's actually how I came to write my first song. Was
Okay.
in that um, I heard about the song game, and then just wrote a song on the spot and submitted it.
Do you guys, I mean, under normal circumstances, meet in person, or is like an email that you send a file to for everyone to listen? How do y'all share
Well,
songs?
Kevin was originally driving the song game, and then after a couple of years, he stepped out and asked me to drive it. So it's all done through email, and we'll go to each other's shows from time to time, and we check out each other's work as just looking to see how people develop their songs. It's really cool.
It is cool.
Um,
Do you give a
so
prompt, or like it's just
yeah.
you do whatever you want?
It's a prompt. It was a weekly song game for years and years, and I've redeveloped it. So I was in Inktober on
Okay.
Instagram, and that inspired me to change the song game a little bit so that now the prompt inspires the song. It doesn't have to be
Gotcha.
in the song or in the title.
Okay.
And it's every 2 weeks.
Okay. That seems to be for some people a much better pace. And
Yeah.
I'm just curious for you, when you're writing songs often, what what's the ratio of like a keeper getting a gold nugget in those songs versus songs you probably never play again?
I'd say maybe 20%.
Okay, 1 in 5, that's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, this
How about
year,
you?
this year and last year felt like a pretty bad ratio. Like I'd write 10 or 15 or 20 before I found one that I was like, I think this one's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last 3 or 4 months, really since this summer, I feel like, I guess since COVID, I feel like there's more like 5 or 6 songs that it's almost like one a month or so. I'm averaging of like, man, I really love this song,
Nice.
which you don't know what to expect when you go into a pandemic. So
Right.
it seems like it's either all of my friends are either zero songs or like can't stop writing.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like there's not really much in between.
Yeah, I'm pretty much addicted.
It's great, especially if it's, for me, it's kind of a form of therapy too, like really
Mm-hmm.
processing through a situation or an emotional truth.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really helpful for me to like put words around a thing.
Yeah.
Well, let me check this.
For me, it's therapeutic, but I find that the songs that I write that are really, really personal, I tend not to share with anybody outside the song game. And the ones that I share with other people tend to be more character driven, and they're about other characters that aren't me.
Okay. Do you, but when you write a song, you still somewhere are writing something that's true, right? Like even
For
if it's
sure.
how people respond in a situation
Yeah,
or how you would respond in that situation or what your opinion of that situation is.
right. Well, there's a song of mine called I Am Joan,
Mm-hmm.
and I am not Joan.
Right.
Joan is a character based on somebody who worked at a coffee shop, and I came up with this service with a sneer line
Nice.
back um, in the early aughts. It was maybe 2000, 2001. And then it just seemed perfect for this song. But that actually is a very personal song, and I don't share with my audience what it's really about, what I was working through. But it's very honest to me, and yeah,
I would say the same.
there's
That sounds
yeah,
normal to me. Like it makes sense to me that not all songs need to be fully explained, you know? And that's kind of the beauty of music is that when you're singing a song, it hits the person in the audience in a way through the lens of their own story. And
right.
sometimes we do a disservice by explaining too much about our songs before we sing them.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
but sometimes it is really sweet and helpful to know some of the story, what inspired a song.
Mm-hmm.
But I have yet to share the story and a song that made it on my EP. Like, and I play that song all
Mm-hmm.
the time. And I just, some of it is that I'm not ready to share it yet, you know? And I might someday, but I might never. And I think either one's okay.
Yeah, I
And
feel the same
yeah.
way.
What would you, well, I wanted to ask about your surgery because about a year ago, you had a life-changing surgery.
Yes.
And if you would like to explain a little bit about maybe the before and after. And I specifically wanted to ask you about how maybe the surgery has affected you as an artist and you creating art.
Okay. Well, let's see. I have a condition called dystonia, and dystonia is it's a neuromuscular condition. It's also called a movement disorder, and um, it's the physical part of Parkinson's. So people with Parkinson's and with several other neurological conditions, dystonia is like one of the sets of symptoms that they have. And in my case, it's just a freestanding entity. I don't have Parkinson's. Um, and what happens when somebody has dystonia is that their brain tells their muscles to tighten up, and then they spasm, and then they twist into abnormal and sometimes incredibly painful postures. And in my case, I was born with it, but it didn't have its onset until I was in my 20s. And it had a very gradual onset from around the time when I moved here in the late 80s is when I first started exhibiting what I later found out were symptoms. It took me about 20 years to get
Oh,
diagnosed.
wow. Okay.
Because it's not a rare condition, but you have to go to a neurologist who specializes in movement disorders to get diagnosed, and pretty much nobody else knows about dystonia.
Right.
So gradually over time, my body was twisting up, and I was like looking over my left shoulder all the time. And I had head bobbing, and when I would have what I would call a flare up or an episode, I would lose control of my limbs. And uh, so I was in constant pain until I got diagnosed, and then I was on medication. When the medication started to wear off, I started exploring this surgery, which is called deep brain stimulation.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of a therapy that's two surgeries. In one surgery, you get electrodes put in your brain, which is so much fun. And in the second surgery, uh, they implant a device, kind of like a pacemaker, but for the brain. And in my case, they put it in my abdomen. With some people, they put it in the chest, but the abdomen is a bit fleshier, and so that's where I had it put. And then after the surgery, I went to my neurologist, and she um, sent voltage to, she activated the device, the neurostimulator, which is connected to the electrodes. And then she sent voltage to the device after she activated it. And the results were unbelievable. She just sent a tiny, tiny amount of voltage, and I straightened up.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Were you
And
laying down or standing when she did
I
that?
was sitting,
Okay.
and Terry Klein was with me when it happened, and he was my ride to the neurologist that day. And then the next time I took a friend, and she videotaped it, and it was just so stunning. And now every 3 days, I give myself a slight boost in the voltage, and I guess every month or so I'll post about it on Facebook. Um, and it's really remarkable. I guess it was a month in that I did a video whereby I turned it off. And so I folded in on myself,
Oh,
and then I turned it back on and just straightened right up.
wow.
Yeah. And as far as how it affects like performing, there are things that I can do now that I couldn't do a year ago.
Like
For
what?
example, if I was on stage with my band or my guitarist, if he was sitting to my right, I couldn't just look at him. I could,
You'd have to like
I
full body
would have to
view.
do a double take in order, and practically have to force my head. But I couldn't turn completely to the right. Um, my singing has improved dramatically since then. Part of that has to do with voice lessons, but also I attribute a lot of it to being more grounded. because
Even like
I'm,
posture would change a lot of
yeah,
breathing.
absolutely. I can breathe more easily. I'm more centered.
That's amazing.
So I'm still a little wonky, and I'll always be a little wonky, but that's okay. Um,
I'm really excited for you about this. It sounds like it
Thank
really
you.
has been life-changing, and that's amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been an amazing journey.
Well, before we move on to the next section, I wanted to ask you one more question,
Okay.
and it is one of my favorite questions to ask everyone. What is your earliest memory of hearing a piece of music and loving it?
Hmm. Good question.
Like it really
Well,
grabbing you?
yeah, my sister Maggie, she's a multi-instrumentalist, and she doesn't play in public because she's really shy. And she just really has no interest in playing in public. But she took piano lessons from like second grade on, and I remember when she learned Claire de Lune. Do you know that
I
piece?
do. It's lovely. It's probably one
Yes.
of my favorites.
Um, and also just singing in the choir. There were certain songs where the harmonies were just amazing, and just being able to sing harmonies, you
Was it
know,
church choir or school choir?
it was church choir. I went to a church school,
Okay. I was just curious if it
so
was like gospel songs or if it was like school choir songs.
they were mostly religious from in sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. And then ninth through 12th, I was in choir through my high school, which was also associated with a church. But most of what we learned were, well, they'd be like St. Patrick's Day songs, because St.
Okay.
Patrick's Day is a big deal in Savannah, and Christmas songs and things like that.
What denomination was it? What kind of church was it?
Catholic.
Okay.
I'm the youngest of seven.
Ah, I'm the
Yeah.
oldest of six, but we're not Catholic.
Aha.
Um, awesome. Well, okay, so I have some pop questions. Are you ready?
Okay. Hang on just a second. Your video is a little pixelated,
Oh
and I just thought
no.
I would let you know.
Thanks.
You
Double
bet.
check my connection. I think I'm.
I don't know if that's the case for anybody who's watching.
Well, I don't know what to do. I'm hardwired in, but apparently
Okay.
Spectrum sucks in my neighborhood. So,
Uh,
any better?
a little, not really.
Can you hear me all right?
So I can hear you just fine.
All right, let's just move on. I'll let the video crap out. All right,
Yes, and the sound is good.
great. Have you ever been lost in the woods?
Oh, I'm sure I have been. When I was a kid, we used to go to my grandmother's best friend's house, and she lived in a part of Savannah that had wooded areas around it. And we would often go off and play in the woods. And I'm sure I got lost, but I don't remember it.
All right.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to the bathroom in a garbage can?
No,
Have you ever I'm going to skip that one. Have you ever been in a rap battle?
no.
Oh. Last one. Have you ever sung someone a love song?
Um, Without them knowing it.
Ah, those are the best. Anything you
Yes.
can talk about or no?
Um, sure, because he's not on the feed. I just saw that Louis Carr was on. I wanted to say hi.
Hi,
Um,
Louie.
let's see. So there's this guy who I don't even know if he lives in Austin anymore, but I had met him and he showed up at gospel brunch a couple of days later, and I had written a song about him. and that's the song that I sang that day, and he had no idea it was about him. We never dated or anything. I haven't dated in a million years. So, um,
Same.
yeah, fun, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think if I've sung a love song. I've definitely sung a song that sounded like I got nervous because someone that I liked was in the room and I was singing this song and it had this lyric about like, "Oh, I should have kissed you then." And I was like nervous he would think it's about him.
Ah,
I was like, awkward, but
yeah.
I have no idea. Yeah. Oh, I did sing. This is funny. My very first open mic in Austin ever.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a song the night before, and it was my breakthrough song, like when my songwriting changed. This is like 2012. And I wrote the song. It was the first time I wrote about a thing I felt like my opinion about something. Like I wrote about being single and being okay with it. And I feel like no one writes
Mm-hmm.
songs like that
Yeah.
that are like also sweet. Like they're usually like super sassy or like, in your face.
Right.
Um, and I went and sang this song. And I, at halfway through the song, I realized I'm singing the song about being single, and the entire audience is male, like all men. And I
Oh
was like,
my
what am I
God.
doing right now?
Yeah. Oh,
And I was
that's so
like,
funny.
I like ran as soon as I was done. I was like, not talking to anybody.
Right.
It's like, this is not an ask for, anyways,
Yeah.
it's funny what happens in
I just
moments
saw
like that.
Rush's comment. I wrote a song called Rush on the radio.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
fun. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Rush. Well, do you have a question for me?
Yes. Okay.
Should I
Suppose
be
you're,
nervous?
no. Suppose you're on a desert island
Okay.
and it's climate controlled. Okay. So
Sounds like torture.
nothing that nothing that is on the island could necessarily melt or freeze.
Okay.
Okay? So, if you had your choice on a desert island, CDs, albums, or cassettes?
By albums, I assume you mean vinyl.
Yes.
Well, probably. Well, hold on. Do I have a player? Because it doesn't matter
Yes, you could
otherwise.
have whatever
Okay.
player. So,
Okay.
as far as recorded music, would you prefer CDs, albums, or cassette?
I mean, right now, vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Cassettes, I'm sorry, but they just get worn out.
Yeah.
And they get tangled, you know? You
Mm-hmm.
you have a baby or your niece comes over, or your baby's sister, and just you're
Right.
done. CDs
Mm-hmm.
can get scratched. I mean, vinyl can too, but CDs are kind of nice because they're smaller,
Mm-hmm.
and they can play the whole way through. You don't have to flip sides,
Right.
and you can
But
skip ahead.
mm-hmm.
Generally, I do appreciate that feature. If you're like not into this song, let's go to the next. But vinyl, there is something really grounding about vinyl that it's very, you have to sit there
Mm-hmm.
and you have to listen to the whole thing as it was intended to be heard. And there, I have a vinyl right now that fortunately my favorite song is the first song. So I just like
Mm-hmm.
play it and then I stop the, the machine. Then I'll play it and stop the machine. But they're on the other side B though. This my favorite song's like song 3 or 4. So there is something really like grounding in time that
Mm-hmm.
you're committing like 15 minutes to listen to a side.
Right.
And you got to get up. You got to go turn it over. So like you
Yes.
can't be too sedentary. Is that the word?
Yes.
You got to like move around a little bit, burn a couple calories.
Absolutely. But you can't bounce around too much if you're in a room
Same with
but
the
you'd
CD
be in a
player
cave.
too.
You'd be in a cave
Oh, okay.
or on the beach, with your Victrola and winding it up.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I would just have a dance party on the beach.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I've started dancing again. My back has not been hurting as much lately, and so I've just been doing
Ah.
all the like I'm ready for someone that needs like an interpretive dancer to like
Uh-huh.
make a music video. I'm down. Anybody? Let me know.
Okay, absolutely. It's interesting because dance was something that I um, was doing on a regular basis because it's actually great physical therapy for dystonia. And actually, when a particular groove starts, there's certain bands that I would go hear because they'd have a great rhythm section, and my body would just kind of pull me onto the dance floor. There have been times when I was too tired to be dancing, but it was as if my body just craved it for the
It's
physical therapy.
it is so therapeutic, and it's so the endorphins I get from dancing. Love partner
Mm-hmm.
dancing, two-stepping, swing dancing, love it so much. But also, like, I've gotten to a place where I'm comfortable enough with myself to just dance my own dance moves that are totally goofy and,
Mm-hmm.
like, not amazing, but they feel good. So
Well, hats off to you for partner dancing because I can't partner dance.
maybe now, once the pandemic is over, I'll
No,
meet you.
I
I'll meet you at the White Horse, and we'll take lessons.
maybe, maybe.
All right.
But I'm a huge fan of just dancing, dancing on my own. I rarely
Dancing in the
dance with another.
moonlight. Do you
Um,
do you dance at weddings?
I've only been to one wedding in the past 10 years, Jenny Parrott's wedding. And I danced
So
because the guy who I invited to dance said, I don't dance. And I said, okay, well, I do later.
all right. Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
um, that was a great wedding, wasn't it? I rarely cry at weddings, and I cried at that wedding. And the band they had, oh my God. It was Noel McKay and Brennan Lee and their
Nice.
band. Oh my God, so good.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to make myself answer a few of these now.
Okay.
Have I ever been to Disney World? Yes.
How many times?
I think just, well, you know what? Twice when I was a kid, but then my uncle
Mm-hmm.
started working for Disneyland, or he worked for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So my family went, like they gave us passes one day, so we went in.
Ah,
But it's a pretty expensive place to go, so we definitely couldn't
yeah.
really afford to go there often.
I've
And I definitely
been,
went before there were six of us. Like there were only two or three of
mm,
us at the time.
I think I've been 5 times,
That's cool.
but most of it was for work. I was a nanny, and so we'd go with
Oh,
the kiddos.
that's fun. Have I ever forgotten to pick up a loved one? Probably. I've been the one that was forgotten. That's actually
Oh, me
why I got a
too.
cell phone, because I was like 15 or 16. My parents left me at church on a Sunday, like after church. I don't know how. I'm like too shy to really get engaged in really long conversations at that time in my
Mm-hmm.
life. So, like, but my family would go to church in two different cars because there were a couple different events happening.
Ah,
And so between the two of them, they left me. And I was just like standing there by myself outside the church. And eventually the church gets locked. It's not like
yeah.
I might have, I'm trying to figure out how they figured it out. I might have asked to borrow someone's cell phone and call them.
Mm,
It was mortifying. I was like, thanks, y'all. Feel real important.
yeah. I was 6 years old and was left at Shoney's Big Boy in Brunswick, Georgia. And I don't know how long it took him to come back. We were on a road trip to Jekyll Island from Savannah.
Uh
And
huh.
we stopped at Shoney's for lunch. And usually they would do sort of a roll call. And if there were 9 of us in the car, then we could go. But they just got in the car and drove off. And I'd gone to the bathroom and I was really shy as a kid, so I would just slink off. So I went to the bathroom and I came back and they were gone.
That's like
And
that feeling in
yeah,
the pit of your stomach where it's like, I'm forgettable, is always how
right.
I felt. And I was like,
Yeah.
do you even love me? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I was
It's
like,
like, I
cool, you
know I'm
got everybody
small,
else.
but
Like, great.
yeah. Yeah, Shoney's is a Georgia institution. And, Joanna, I'm glad you haven't seen Home Alone. That really, I'm serious about this. I'm not a fan of that movie. um, so
And there were three
his,
of them.
yeah.
Macaulay Culkin was my first Hollywood crush, though,
Oh,
believe it or
really?
not, because he was the prince in the Nutcracker Ballet, the
Ah,
TV special.
okay.
Yeah, and I was all about I was in ballet for a very long time as a kid.
I
So
was in it
it's
for a
like
couple of years.
dancing with another
Yes.
boy.
There's a show that was called The Courtship of Eddie's Father that was on when I was a kid. And the actor, I think his name was Brandon Cruz. Is that right, Rush or Joanna? Um, the kid who played Eddie, I had a crush on him. Oh,
That's
but
funny.
my big sort of music slash TV crush was Davy Jones.
Oh.
To the point where when I heard the song Cheer Up Sleepy Jean, I remember being just lying down, prostate on the couch in the living room. Cheer Up Sleepy Jean was this song that was on a record album, and I was crying because he was singing to some other girl.
Ah.
And I was maybe 6.
Ah.
So, hi, Carol.
Joanna, I
Nice
don't
to
know
see
that.
you.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Carol. Joanne asked a question. She asked how long before her parents came back. I have no perception of how long that period of time actually is now, having lived through a pandemic. When what is time, anyways? It was probably at least 30 minutes. But like my family only lived like 10 to 15 minutes from church. So like it was probably about 30 minutes.
Yeah, same here.
I would guess. Um okay. So, song. Do you have a song you'd like to play?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
And look, I happen to have a ukulele.
Ah, I'm going to mute myself and I'm
Yes.
going to let you take over the screen.
Okay.
And then I'll come
This,
back at the end.
okay. And this song will be on my upcoming album, The Best Medicine, David Cassidy. I love the Partridge Family too. They don't make shows like that anymore. Okay, this is a song that's based somewhat on actual events. It's called The Perils of Shopping. There must be a place where I can be left alone and have ample space. Shouldn't have to stay at home. Why the constant reminders? I've no significant other. Can't I buy 3 ring binders, index cards, and a cheap plunger? But no, it's couples night at Dollar Tree. My worst nightmare has come true. People paired up on bargain sprees, are they intent on making me blue? It's bad enough you left my side, But now it's worse 'cause these grooms and brides to be have taken over Dollar Tree. They're making out and clogging the aisles. I'm reconsidering Walmart. I'm on the brink of tears, and they're all smiles. I'm struggling not to hit them with my cart. I want to stretch my budget without seeing their public displays. Can't I buy wood screws and a bucket in peace in single serving place? But no, it's couples night at Dollar Tree. My worst nightmare has come true. People paired out on bargain sprees, are they intent on making me blue? Just as I'm about to escape this hell in the shopping plaza, over the PA I hear couples skate. Should have stayed at my casa because it's couples night at Dollar Tree. Couples night there, double axles sicken me. Couples night at Dollar Tree. Woe is me.
Woo! Yeah.
Thank you.
I said it in all of the comment fields, but that was my favorite. That's my favorite song that you do.
Oh,
And
thank
it
you.
probably, when did you write that?
Let's see. I don't remember when I wrote that.
I think you might have sung it at the first night I met you at Strange Brew. We met because Ellen O'Meara had said, "Hey, look out for my friend Kate. Make sure you say hi."
Yes, I remember
Also,
that.
Karen Mills asked about Blackbird. Do you sing it? Do you have a song called Blackbird, or is she talking about like
Oh, I'm sure she's talking about the
the
Beatles'
Beatles?
Blackbird. I don't know how to play it. I
I
know
was
how to
learning it,
sing it.
but I didn't finish learning it. I
Yeah.
got stuck on Pedro the Lion.
Thank you for the request. And thanks for the applause and the woohoos.
Yeah.
Blackbird, such a lovely song. Do you know what it's actually about?
I think I might have at one point, but I don't remember off the top of my
It's
head.
about African American women.
All right.
Yeah. I just learned this a few months back. So
I'll have to go and reread all the lyrics
yeah.
in that light. Oh, Karen plays too. Okay, awesome.
Nice.
Well, so do you want to stay on the screen when I play, or you want to disappear for a second?
I'll disappear and I'll mute myself.
Okay. All right, this song is new. I just played it for the first time last week. I botched it. No one, I mean, I didn't. Anyways, I've revised it, so I'm going to play it a little bit differently. And it's called One Life. What happens when a college kid runs from the pressures of her town? She volunteers in a money pit until she's sure she can't be found. 'Cause what's the point in staying behind when everybody else is passing you by? So she said, I've got one life, I'm gonna live it. I've got one chance, I'm gonna take it. I can't wait for you to see it. I'm gonna move on. Love can find you in a desert place or down the street in lifeguard training. She fell so hard for him, but 6 months in her mind was changing. It was always about what he wanted. The only thing in common was a 90s band. I've got one life, I'm gonna live it. I've got one chance, I'm gonna take it. I can't wait for you to see it. I'm gonna move on. Sometimes you run from love and you fall right in. Most times the growing up is the bigger win. I've got one life, I'm gonna live it. I've got one chance, I'm gonna take it. I can't wait for you to see it. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on. Move on.
Great song.
Thanks.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
Jack
Well,
McCabe, who's Magic Jack, just reminded me sort of when I wrote that song. It was 5 or 6 years ago because I remember who I was living with at the time and the situation and everything. So, yeah, that's a great
awesome.
song that you
Thank
just
you.
played. I love it. What's it
Thank
called?
you. I think it's called One Life. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Or Move On. I don't know. There's plenty of repeatable parts. The title hasn't stuck yet, so it's still in flux, but
Gotcha.
and it's still maybe going to be revised a little bit more, but it feels more like it's falling into place for now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's a
Thanks,
crowd
Jack.
favorite.
Thanks, everybody. Also,
Yeah, and thanks for sharing the stream, Jack.
I forget that I can actually include some of the comments in here. Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in, and thank you, Kate, for being my guest and
You're
hanging out.
welcome. My pleasure.
And
I had a wonderful time.
I'm glad. I'm glad we were able
Yeah.
to do this.
Me
Someday
too.
we'll see each other in person. But for
Yes.
now,
Yes.
awesome. Let's see. What is Kent saying? Something about Blackbird, Betty Levette.
Yes, she does an amazing version of it.
Kent, feel free to drop a link in the comments. I guess you're on Facebook. We'll be able to view that later. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you all have a really great night. Kate, I can't wait to see you in person someday soon.
Likewise.
Stay
Likewise.
safe where you
Oh,
are.
absolutely.
Happy holidays, Christmas is this week.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. I keep
Let's
forgetting,
I
because it's
know.
so balmy out in the
I
daytime.
know.
Merry
Um
Christmas, everybody, and
Also,
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year. Finish. Let's like
Yes.
make the rest of 2020 like the best of 2020.
Yes. I will
Awesome.
do my darndest.
Sounds great. All right. Bye everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.